Striker Kylian Mbappe has shocked France national team fans. Meanwhile, his teammates in the dressing room are furious over the Turtles' antics. Bernardo Silva has snubbed Barcelona. The Portuguese has decided to move to Madrid. Where will the Munich star transfer after the World Cup? And Manchester City's new transfer record. The citizens are buying the Premier League's main superstar. We'll talk about this and much more today. This is Doza Futbola, a dose of football, and I wish you a good appetite and pleasant viewing. Madness in the transfer market. Manchester City has made a €140 million offer for Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest. The fact of such a massive bid was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano himself, so there is no room for doubt. If Nottingham accepts the offer, the Englishman will become the second most expensive transfer in Premier League history, following Alexander Isak's move to Liverpool. However, if David Ornstein is to be believed, the Tricksters' owner, Evangelos Marinakis, wants even more for Anderson. According to his plan, the midfielder's transfer should top Isak's purchase. They expect to receive around €150 million for the Englishman. The market has gone mad. Manchester United is monitoring the deal, but by all appearances, the powerhouse will pass on Anderson. Man United has no intention of paying such astronomical money for a single player. No matter how good Elliot Anderson is, the Red Devils would prefer to sign Sandro Tonali from Newcastle United, Mateus Fernandes from West Ham United, or Alex Scott from Bournemouth. The problem is that Nottingham's actions are driving up price tags for them as well. Newcastle believes Tonali is no worse than Anderson. City and Arsenal are also interested in the Italian. As for Anderson, at this rate, he will remain at Forest, and it's quite possible the whole thing will end in a scandal. Manchester City knows how to bargain and when it's best to walk away from a deal. Back in 2021, the club was ready to offer €150 million for the 27-year-old Harry Kane, and even include Gabby Jesus or Aymeric Laporte in the deal. But Daniel Levy dug his heels in and demanded completely absurd conditions from the citizens. In the end, the Manchester Giants simply walked away from negotiations and signed Erling Haaland a year later. Marinakis is asking for trouble. It's unlikely anyone will pay €150 million for Anderson, though we'll see. The citizens really like the player. Tottenham will almost certainly sell Guglielmo Vicario. Inter and Juventus are interested in the goalkeeper, but the Turin side has already agreed on contract terms with Emiliano Martinez, so Vicario is more likely to end up with the Nerazzurri. Tottenham is set for a total rebuild. Apart from Chevalier, a multitude of other transfers awaits the club. For now, the Spurs are successfully working with free agents, having signed Andrew Robertson and Marcos Senesi. Yesterday, the Spurs officially announced the transfer of the latter. Besides Tottenham, Liverpool, Juventus, and Manchester United were in contact with Senesi, but Tottenham didn't beat around the bush. Their interest quickly turned into concrete action, which ultimately allowed the Spurs to sign the left-footed center back who boasts an excellent pass and extensive Premier League experience. He will replace Christian Romero, who is considering leaving the club. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed Real Madrid's interest in Michael Olise. According to him, the Los Blancos did indeed want to sign the winger and held talks with the Munich side. Apparently, Florentino Perez's very words about €150 million for a player applied to both Julian Alvarez and Olise, even though both Atletico and Barcelona are convinced that Real didn't actually try to buy Alvarez and made the offer solely to drive up the Argentine's price tag. According to Marca, Jose Mourinho doesn't want to sign another superstar for the Los Blancos' attack. His goal is to build a reliable and balanced team. The manager believes that having Mbappe and Vinicius already perfectly fills the club's front line. However, it's not ruled out that Vinicius will leave. The outlet AS reported yesterday that Vinicius will leave Madrid as a free agent if the club doesn't accept his contract extension terms. The proof is on your screen, except Real have no intention of accepting them, which means Vinicius is leaving the club. That is precisely why the negotiations have been deadlocked for over a year now. Sources are increasingly talking about Vinny's departure, which makes sense considering the situation the club found itself in due to Kylian Mbappe's transfer. It's not surprising. Offloading the Brazilian is a forced measure. Vinny is easier to get rid of than Mbappe, and keeping the Brazilian and the Frenchman together is detrimental to the team. Therefore, Vinicius will become a free agent, and they will sign a new star instead, one who won't throw tantrums over Mbappe's status. It is quite likely that Real Madrid will come back for Michael Olise, provided PSG doesn't hijack him first. According to L'Equipe, PSG is planning a transfer for Olise, and the Parisians are going to offer over €150 million for him. The Parisian Giants previously paid €222 million for Neymar, and if anyone can meet Bayern's demands of $200+ million for Olise, it's definitely PSG. Manchester United got rid of Jadon Sancho, but another problem has returned. Marcus Rashford. 25 goal contributions across all competitions didn't convince Barcelona to shell out €30 million for the Englishman. Yesterday, all reliable sources confirm that the Blaugrana refused to buy out the forward. United fans are of course unhappy with this situation and are venting their anger on social media, saying, "How can this be? The Catalans found the funds to pay 80 million euros for Anthony Gordon, but they cheaped out on 30 million for Rashford? The devil is in the details, or rather in the annual budget load, not the transfer fee itself. Player fees are rarely paid all at once, and when you factor in the salary and a potentially shorter contract, Rashford would have cost Barca either as much as Gordon or even slightly more. But now, put yourself in Laporta's shoes. Who is better for the club? An aging Rashford, weak off the ball and with a massive salary, or a guy 4 years younger with resale potential and much better suited for pressing, which is crucial for Hansi Flick's system? Therefore, Rashford is a Man United player once again. United hope that the Englishman will have a strong World Cup and boost his market value. Otherwise, selling him with his current salary will be next to impossible. Marcus seems ready to take a serious pay cut, but everything has its limits. Arsenal, Tottenham, Aston Villa, and Bayern are monitoring the situation. It is highly unlikely that Rashford will stay at United. The club really wants to avoid this scenario, and yet it's not ruled out that Michael Carrick will have to figure out how to fit the forward into his squad. Hansi Flick has extended his contract with Barcelona, but everyone understands that the German story with the Blaugrana will be short-lived. Hans Dieter has repeatedly stated that he will retire soon, and the plan is for his current Barcelona contract to be the last of his career. Therefore, the Catalans need to quietly start looking for a replacement. Rumors about the search have been circulating for a while, but now it is practically obvious who will take the German's place. According to journalist Javi Miguel, Cesc Fabregas will be the next manager of Barcelona. To reiterate, this is no longer just rumors, thrice retold backstage gossip, or hints from the board. No. According to the journalist, the club and the coach have held preliminary talks to pave the way for an appointment starting in 2028. The logic is simple. Laporta and company want to secure Fabregas, realizing that as soon as Cesc decides to leave the Lariani, European giants will line up for such a promising coach. Right now, pulling Cesc away from Como is impossible. Fabregas is deeply committed to the club. However, he has already mentioned that he will leave Como one day. The Blaugrana decided to act preemptively. The Catalan club's proposal is that any future contract Fabregas signs with anyone must include a release clause allowing him to leave for Barca at the first call. Alejandro Echevarria, a key figure in managing the Blaugrana dressing room and a man close to the president, specifically flew to Como a few months ago to discuss the details and reach an agreement with Fabregas. At Como, Fabregas proved that he is capable of working with youth and playing attractive football without a massive budget. And given Barcelona's current financial situation, this is exactly what the club needs. The financial factor heavily influenced the club's choice of Fabregas over Luis Enrique. The Spaniard was also considered as the next Blaugrana boss, but his salary at PSG is astronomical. Barca simply cannot afford it, and that is exactly why Cesc Fabregas will become the next manager of Barcelona. Messi's impact in Argentina's friendly, the Argentina national team effortlessly dismantled the Iceland team in a friendly match. Lionel Messi is ready for his final World Cup. The Albiceleste manager, Lionel Scaloni, decided not to risk the forward unnecessarily and only brought him on in the 71st minute. However, the remaining time was more than enough for Messi to put on a show. Just 2 minutes after coming on, the footballer scored from a penalty kick. Leo became the oldest goalscorer in the history of the Argentina national team, scoring at 38 years and 350 days old. The penalty was won thanks to the captain himself. The Cappy also delivered the pre-assist when Thiago Almada scored. Even without Messi, the Argentines were finding plenty of open space, but simply couldn't exploit it. With Leo's introduction, everything changed instantly. Chance after chance began pouring in, one after another. What can you say, maestro? World Cup kickoff, Spain's status, and Ronaldo's form. Meanwhile, the World Cup kicks off today. The Spanish national team is considered the main contender for victory. But remember, in a tournament like this, there are no clear favorites. Many, by the way, want to see the Portuguese national team win. This tournament will be the last one for Cristiano Ronaldo. Mbappe's drama in the France camp. Just like Kylian Mbappe in his recent matches for France. In those games, the forward failed to live up even to his own high standards. Fans are linking this to the appearance of a girlfriend in the footballer's life.
Kylian Mbappe left the Les Bleus camp immediately after the match against Northern Ireland. Didier Deschamps allowed Mbappe to take some time off for personal reasons. According to Mundo Deportivo, those personal reasons turned out to be Mbappe flying to Madrid, where he met up with actress Esther Exposito. French fans believe that Mbappe is prioritizing his personal life over his commitments to the national team, and this is despite the fact that the World Cup began.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching and for subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like. Goodbye.